This video is all about the intersecting chords theorem, sometimes known as the power of a point theorem. This topic is often included with the other circle theorems like the angle at the centre is equal to twice the angle at the circumference, but the theorems in this video really do have a slightly different character to those and so deserve to be presented separately. We'll go through each of the three cases, one for intersecting chords, one for intersecting secants, and one for a tangent and a secant, and I'll explain the term power of a point as we go along as well. The intersecting chords theorem tells us that when two chords intersect in a circle like this, the product of the distances marked A and B is equal to the product of the distances marked C and D. That is, A times B equals C times D. If the chords intersect at the centre of the circle, then this is clearly true, because all four of these distances would then be equal to the radius, so the products AB and CD would both be equal to the radius squared. But remarkably, it's still true wherever the chords intersect. Notice that the distances A and B are the distances from the intersection points to the 2 points where the first chord meets the circle. The distances C and D are the distances from the intersection point to the 2 points where the second chord meets the circle. And it's their products A times B and C times D which are always equal, whichever direction we point the lines in. Let's look at an example. Suppose we have two chords intersecting with the lengths given here, and we want to find x. Pause now and have a go before I show you the answer. The intersecting chords theorem tells us that 8 times 3 equals 4 times x, so 24 equals 4x, and so x equals 6. Here's a slightly harder example. Suppose the lengths are given as shown here. Can you find the value of x? Pause and have a go now if you want to. In this case, we have a chord and a radius, so to use the intersecting chords theorem, we need to extend the radius to make a chord. We can see the radius has length x plus 3, and extending this to make a diameter means adding another radius of x plus 3. So the distance from the intersection point to the point on the circle will be x plus 3, or 2x plus 3. Now we can use the intersecting chords theorem and say that 5 times 6 equals 3 times 2x plus 3. Multiplying out, we have 30 equals 6x plus 9, and dividing by 3 gives 10 equals 2x plus 3. So we have 2x equals 7, and so x equals 3.5. So you know how to use this first case of the intersecting chords theorem now, but let's think about why it works and give a proof. To prove the intersecting chords theorem, we can start by labelling the ends of the chords P, Q, R and S as shown, and we also label the intersection point as T. The result will follow from the fact that triangles PTS and QTR are similar. That is to say, they have the same angles. Why is that? Well, angles PTS and QTR are clearly equal because they are opposite angles. Angles SPR and SQR are equal because they are subtended by the same chord SR. And angles PSQ and PRQ are equal because they are subtended by the same chord PQ. So triangles PTS and QTR are similar. Now if we add the lengths A, B, C and D to the diagram as before, and draw these similar triangles side by side, then using scale factors in similar triangles, we have A divided by C equals D divided by B. Multiplying this equation by B and by C gives A times B equals C times D as required, and we have proved the theorem. The second case of this theorem is called the intersecting secants theorem, and is similar to the intersecting chords theorem, but it considers the case where the intersection occurs outside of the circle, like this. Sometimes people still call this a case of the intersecting chords theorem, but technically the lines we have drawn here now are secants, not chords, because they pass through the circle, so we should really call this case the intersecting secants theorem. Either way, it works similarly to the first case, and we have A times B equals C times D, where A, B, C and D are the lengths shown. This might not look quite the same as the previous case, and the most common mistake students make is to put B and D here instead. But that wouldn't be right, because remember, in the intersecting chords theorem, the distances A and B are the distances from the intersection point to the 2 points where the first chord meets the circle. So to make that the same as in this case for the secants, we need to make one distance the distance from the intersection of the lines to the closer point on the circle, and the other distance the distance from the intersection point to the other point on the circle. We'll prove this again in a minute, but first let's take a look at a couple of examples. Can you find x in this diagram? Pause and have a go now. The intersecting secants theorem tells us that 4 times 4 plus x equals 6 times 16, which is 96. So dividing this by 4, we have 4 plus x equals 24, and then x equals 20. Well done if you got that right. Here's a harder example. Suppose we have lengths as given in the diagram, and we want to find the value of x. Pause and have a go now if you want to. The intersecting secants theorem tells us that 2 times 2 plus 3x equals x times x plus 3, and so we can multiply out to get 4 plus 6x equals x squared plus 3x, and rearrange to give x squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. This is a quadratic that we can factorise to give x minus 4 times x plus 1 equals 0, and so x equals 4 or negative 1. But negative 1 can't be a length in the diagram, and so we must have x equals 4. We can double check that this works, as this means that 3x equals 12, and so the lengths for the intersecting secants theorem are 2 and 14, and 4 and 7. 2 times 14 equals 28, and 4 times 7 equals 28 too, and so everything works. So how do we prove this second case? It actually works in a similar way to the first case. To prove the intersecting secants theorem, we can start by labelling the points where the secants meet the circle as P, Q, R and S, and the intersection as T as shown. The result will follow from the fact that triangles PTS and QTR are similar. That is to say, they have the same angles. Why is that? Well, angles PTS and QTR are literally the same angle, and so must be equal. Angles SPR and SQR are equal because they are subtended by the same chord SR, and then angles PSQ and PRQ are equal because they are each 180 minus the angles PRQ and PSQ, which are equal because they are subtended by the same chord PQ. So triangles PTS and QTR are similar. Now if we add the lengths A, B, C and D to the diagram as before and draw these similar triangles side by side, then using scale factors in similar triangles, we have A divided by C equals D divided by B. Multiplying this equation by B and C gives A times B equals C times D as required, and we have proved the theorem. I mentioned at the start that these theorems are together also known as the power of a point theorem, and before we tackle the third case, I'll tell you what that name means. Let's take the intersecting secants theorem and make one of the secants pass through the centre of the circle, which we'll call M, and let's call the intersection point A. The distance from the intersection point to the closer point on the circle is AM minus R, where R is the radius of the circle, and the distance from the intersection point to the further point on the circle is AM plus R. So the intersecting secants theorem tells us that AB equals AM plus R times AM minus R, which is the difference of two squares expression that you can multiply out to give AM squared minus R squared. This difference of two squares is referred to as the power of the point A with respect to the circle with centre M and radius R. So the distance the point is from the circle essentially fixes this quantity, and whichever direction the line from A intersects the circle from, the product of the distance A and B is always the same. If we go back to the intersecting chords theorem we started with, then there's a similar interpretation. If we make one of the chords pass through the centre of the circle, then the two distances would be R minus AM and R plus AM, and so we have that the product AB equals R minus AM times R plus AM, which again is a difference of two squares, and equals R squared minus AM squared, so this is exactly the negative of the same power of a point expression we have in case 2. This brings us to the final case where we have a secant and a tangent to the circle. If we start with the picture from the second case, you can see that as we move the upper secant closer and closer to being a tangent to the circle, then the lengths C and D get closer and closer to being equal, and so it makes sense that the result still holds when the secant becomes a tangent to the circle, in which case we have A times B equals C squared. It's easy to prove this rigorously now using the power of the point A. We know that the tangent meets the radius to the circle at a right angle, and so applying Pythagoras' theorem to the triangle formed gives us that C squared plus R squared equals AM squared, which we can rearrange to give C squared equals AM squared minus R squared, which is exactly the power of the point A, and so is equal to A times B as we saw earlier. So there we have it, we've proved all three cases of the power of a point or intersecting chords and secants theorems, and if you want to see all of the other circle theorems and their proofs, you can check out one of the two videos on the screen now. One has the theorems and examples in it, and the other has the proofs. Or if you want to work through exercises on these and other topics, you can head over to the Mathsaurus website, which is full of courses and resources for school maths, maths challenges, Olympiads and more.